Hi everybody, and yes, this is going to be another Auto Plus run, and this is one of those rare stages where it's going to be fully Auto Plus from start to finish. I'm not going to press a single button the entire fight. Granted, there are some manual inputs that you can actually do that will make the fight a little bit more consistent with this team, but you can still get a win without doing those manual inputs. And it's been quite some time since I did a full Auto Plus run, so I decided to just let the battle play out by itself. So covering the party setup, we have a party here of Warrior of Light, Serah and Auron. Warrior of Light is here for two reasons, mainly of course for his shields, so that he keeps the entire party safe and you won't be taking a single point of damage in this fight since everything is mitigatable. The second reason why he's in is that he's actually the main force user. With his force effect and the fact that the bosses will be getting consecutive turns during this fight, it's actually not very challenging to hit very high force bonus percentages. Auron as a secondary party member has also two main functions in this fight. First of all, of course, as you know, he is the cover tank, but importantly also he does the counter attacks as well, which you take advantage of when you are at very high force bonus percentage. The second reason though is that he also does have some debuffs in his kit, notably from his S1 that lands the Eye Brave and Max Brave down, and his S2 lands the melee Imperil. This helps a lot because generally in this fight you want the bosses to have 4 or more debuffs. If you have Auron and you have his E slot sphere free, you can also consider giving Auron an E sphere that lands a debuff. This way his counter attack will both land his frame debuff as well as your sphere debuff, allowing you to have 2 debuffs up every time he counters the enemy. I did not do that because my Auron has a Vanille sphere equipped and I don't want to remove that sphere, so there's no debuffing sphere on Auron. The third party member is actually pretty flexible. I would recommend a third party member that has access to Force Echoes. In this stage I decided to use Serah, mainly because she's also a great support and I have fully built her, so her BT plus would help in terms of damage output, and also of course the fact that she provides debuffs as well helps a lot in this fight. That doesn't mean she's mandatory, and I'm fairly sure there's going to be questions on who I can replace her with. I did try the run a little bit with Garnet, and Garnet can work as well. In fact, with Garnet you are actually pushing out higher damage compared to Serah. The one drawback though if you're bringing Garnet over Serah is that the debuffs matter more, and Auron's debuffs are going to be the main debuff that you will rely on to close out the fight. If you're using Garnet, I would actually recommend to actually equip Garnet's EX skill. I normally have it removed, but in this fight it might be useful because her EX lands 2 debuffs if I'm not mistaken, Water and Thunder Imperil, and that helps you to get the debuffs up in the later parts of the fight. Other force users that could be potentially useful include Vivi as well. Vivi will dish out extreme amounts of damage considering he recently got access to his FRBT, so if you did pull for Vivi, I think he is also fairly good as a third party member here. On top of this, his EX and I think his LD lands Fire Imperil, and his Fire Imperil lasts for 8 turns, so that's actually a pretty good debuff to have that helps you get the 4 debuffs total. Also, Vivi's HP drain doesn't matter at all in this fight because like I said, you won't be taking a single point of HP damage, so even if he drains your HP down to 1, it doesn't really matter. Now coming to some potential manual inputs if you want to have a more consistent time. First thing first is if a third party member is a Force Echoes, and that is something that I would recommend, you do want to keep an eye out on the force gauge, because you want Warrior of Light to use his force attack first. Now generally if you remove everyone's speed passives, this wouldn't be an issue. It is very likely that Warrior of Light will get his turn first when the force gauge hits 100%, and so the AI would use his force attack, assuming you remove everyone's speed passives. I guess there is, depending on who your third party member is, a small risk that your third party member will use his force ability before Warrior of Light. And if this is a concern of yours, what you can do is keep an eye on the force gauge, and when the force meter is close to 100%, then you might want to just toggle auto plus off to manually make sure that Warrior of Light enters into his force time. If you're using Serah like me, what you want to do is after she uses BT plus at the start, you might want to use LD twice so that her BT aura goes to 3 stacks. You can see right here that it stays at 2 stacks for a long part of the fight because the AI defaults to her force echoes every time her turn comes up, and this isn't ideal because you lose a little bit out of her BT aura. In terms of the tank here, I suppose you can use Gladio over Auron, that should work as well, but Gladio carries only 1 debuff on his counter attack, so if you do bring Gladio along, you need your third party member to be Serah for the debuffs, or I guess you can give someone a call ability with debuffs that you can use once at the first runaway and another time when they enter runaway at the end of the fight. However, that would then mean you need to have manual inputs there as well, because the AI will never use call abilities. The last thing I guess I want to mention about the manual input for you to consider is that when the boss enters below 29% health, they will get the runaway plus red aura again, and during that part of the fight you'll probably also have a lot of the debuffs wearing off if you are in auto plus. What I would recommend there is that when the bosses are somewhere between 10 to 20%, you might just want to pop summon to give you the room to reapply your debuffs and finish off the fight inside summon mode. That's because at that point of the fight, if your debuffs wear off, the bosses will regen 3 million HP every time they get a turn, which needlessly prolongs the fight. You will still win because I think you can outdamage the HP regen, but if you really want options for manual inputs, that will be my recommendation. Also, if you are really struggling with the debuffs, you can consider using Ramo as a summon, so that when you pop summon near the end, Ramo summon will apply the paralysis debuff, which means that you really only need 3 more debuffs on top of that. I use a Diabolos summon here mainly for the Eye Brave buff. This allows Warrior of Light to provide a much bigger shield when he uses his LD. Because I'm not going to press any button, so summon mode isn't going to happen, I might as well choose a summon that has a relevant blessing. So in this case, Diabolos is more relevant for me. In terms of setup, as always, I will include in the video description as well. But quick description, Warrior of Light has EX removed because EX temporarily increases his speed. You don't want that to happen. Auron also has EX removed because his EX has AoE delay, and you also don't want that to happen as well. Everyone's speed passives is removed. Warrior of Light doesn't have any speed passives, so Warrior of Light doesn't have any character passives removed. But Auron and Serah both have their passives removed, and Serah also has Moonlight and Moonlight passives removed as well, because those will make her skills high turn rate, and you want to avoid that. Removing speed passives is important if you are considering a full auto plus run like myself. This is because when you remove speed passives on the rest, it is more likely that Warrior of Light's turn will come up when you hit 100% force gauge, so it is very likely that you enter his force time and not Serah's force time in this case. But anyway, this is an option if you want the easy way out. Just have Warrior of Light, Auron, and a third party member with access to force echoes, slow that third party member down as much as possible, hit auto plus and just start the fight. Overall, the fight takes about 10 to 12 minutes in auto plus, and I guess you can come back to a victory screen after that. So this is really the part of the fight I was talking about earlier. A lot of my debuffs has fallen off and the bosses are starting to regen 3 million HP per turn. It's not really a big deal, and I still have 4 turns of force time remaining, so could close out the fight. But here, if you pop summon, you know, it really makes it much easier, and you will definitely be able to finish them off in summon mode. I hope this video has been helpful, and as always, if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!